Hello class, this is a secret message, please clap to accept. If you or any member of the class get caught or killed during the mission, the secretary will deny any responsibility for your actions. Miss Paulina will be your expert on the field as usual. Good luck, class. You have received these 4 encrypted files for you. We are just unencrypt them for a few minutes. We hope it is useful for you for the following mission. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Act normal and close your laptops.
The Gulf Cooperation Council was formed in 1981 in the wake of the Islamic Revolution in Iran and the outbreak of the Iran-Iraq War by Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, and Bahrain. The combined economic output of the GCC is around $1.385 trillion, which is mainly driven by oil exports. The following is a breakdown of each state's annual GDP. As you can see, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, and Qatar exhibit an immense part of their revenue from the oil industry. With economies heavily reliant on oil exports, the GCC's budget depends on the level of crude sales and production. Top oil exporter Saudi Arabia has been increasing its output since the start of the year to make up for the loss of Iranian crude in the market due to tighter Western sanctions. The following are average production levels for each state in 2011 based on the Joint Oil Data Initiative. As you can see, Saudi Arabia produces about 9.30 million barrels per day, whereas the United Arab Emirates produces 2.55 million barrels per day, and finally Kuwait 2.64 million barrels per day. If you think about it, this is a huge amount of oil. Collectively, the region is best known for producing and exporting oil. The oil industry significantly impacts the entire region, both through the wealth that it generates and through the movement of labor. Most of the countries in the region, however, have undertaken efforts to diversify their economies in recent years, but more on that later.
The OPEC is the organization of the petroleum exporting countries, which consists today of 14 members. It plays a major role for the oil market, as the members of OPEC represent 44% of global oil production and 73% of the proven oil reserves. The OPEC's mission is to coordinate and unify the petroleum policies of its members and ensure the stabilization of oil markets in order to secure an efficient economic and regular supply of petroleum to consumers, a steady income to producers, and a fair return on capital for those investing in the petroleum industry. Before the creation of the organization, oil prices were defined by American multinationals. Therefore, the OPEC's members regained sovereignty and control over their own resources. However, the price determination of oil throughout history hasn't been stable. In 1973, the OPEC decided an embargo on oil by multiplying by 4 the price of oil against countries supporting Israel in the Israeli-Palestine war. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution caused a decrease in production and again an increase in the prices. Between the 70s and 80s, the international trade of oil was based on term contracts, with prices and volumes of production negotiated, which contributed to the predictability of oil productions and revenues. However, with the change of market conditions, the reduction of cost of production with new technologies, the variation of demand and the loss of market power, OPEC stopped setting the price. Instead, it started to be determined by market forces. However, if the prices are not determined by the organization anymore, oil revenues are more difficult to predict for countries. Today, there is a rise in competition over the US shale oil, which is easier to extract. In 2008, demand decreased due to the financial crisis. Demand and production can decrease as well due to geopolitical conflicts, such as the current crisis in Syria and Iraq and the Arab Spring in 2010. But there is as well the uncertainty over the remaining reserves of oil of exporting countries. Therefore, the oil kingdoms from the Middle East and North Africa's economies rely mostly on a decreasing resource, which provides highly uncertain revenues. These countries have to lower their dependency over oil production to remain economically viable and competitive.
Hello, I want you to meet a close friend of mine who lives in Saudi Arabia, and he wants to tell you his story on how his family will be affected by the prices of oil. And remember that this is the path that they need to change, because it's our mission to give them ways to transition to a world that is sustainable, not like oil, but like renewable energies.
Good evening to the independence news tonight from Saudi Arabia. The mission possible will allow us to make a frank solution to the dependency of oil in the Oil Kingdom. The solution we found is to switch to renewables. Today, we visited one of the 60 projects of Vision 2030, which is a plan to make Saudi Arabia independent of oil. Nelly is going to explain the macroeconomic implication of this switch.
Good evening, everyone. So, the Oil Kingdom is well aware of its dependency on oil, which impacts their economies at the pace of oil price fluctuations. So, now that we know that renewable energy prices have come to near parity with fossil fuel prices, why not considering a switch towards those energies, especially knowing that there's enough investment to back this up? So, in this scenario, we argue that it's very likely to switch. However, the economy would have to undergo a significant structural change. So although we're basing this scenario mostly on assumptions, we're confident that this switch would positively impact economic growth, that it would lower unemployment and hereby foster consumption, and all this will partly be made possible because of the redirection of the investment from fossil fuels to renewables.
First and foremost, the industry of renewables is quite new in the Oil Kingdom, which implies a significant upfront investment. Quoting from a newspaper, the 75 biggest oil companies invest still $650 billion annually to extract fossil fuels. This is one of the biggest misallocations of capital in history. Just imagine allocating the investment right would boost the transition to renewables. Also, this could be encouraged by the fact that return on investment in renewables is much higher than in the fossil fuel sector.
So second, operating a new industry would require a structural change in terms of infrastructures, capital, and labor. So although the production function for renewables would be capital intensive in the long run, in the short and medium run it would also be labor intensive, since all the infrastructures will have to be built. And on the other side, employment from the oil sector will not fully disappear since countries want to continue exporting their oil. And following from this is an increase in overall consumption.
Lastly, since the development of a new industry requires technical innovation, economic growth will be positive in the long run. So to conclude, according to the Keynesian model, in the long run, all adjustment process will be achieved. The renewable energy market will come to an equilibrium and fully adjusted and economic growth will follow. Thank you everyone for watching. We hope to see you soon on our news channel, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation and that you got the message. So wish you